CalazCon is a show about war, obsession, colonialist occupation, and the many forms of violence those inflict. See the description for content warnings specific to this episode. Good afternoon, Second Lieutenant Thermidor.
Ma'am.
I'm looking at the report about Terminal Company's most recent assignment. Appears to be something from Pizza.
Yes, ma'am.
Assistance with defending a Calaz-class show.
That's correct, ma'am.
Now, why do you think a covert ops team requested that Terminal Company do that?
I wouldn't know, ma'am.
What was your operational area?
Artist's Alley, ma'am, excepting the eastern region, particularly Corona Avenue.
And what caused your assignment to move beyond that operational area?
Spotted a convoy from the Serpent's Fangs, ma'am, and employed our own discretion.
Now tell me about the Serpent's Fangs.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to CalazCon. I am your GM, Elspeth, pronouns she, her, and you can find me on Twitter at 33eels, that's 33eels, or Tumblr at Eelspeth, that's my name, but with an extra E at the start. Today, I'm joined by Philo.
I'm Philo QT Hazard. I use they and them pronouns. You can find me at Philo Hazard wherever good games are sold. And, I'm just happy to be here, y'all.
And also by Don.
Hi, I'm Don. I use he, him pronouns, and you can find me on Twitter at ANR_echo.
And Matt.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm using he, him pronouns, and you can't find me on the internet.
Understandable, reasonable. And finally, by Sabriel.
Hi, Sabriel, she, her pronouns. You can't find me either.
Wonderful. Well, finally, this episode is brought to you by our squad sponsor, Lily Young, and this episode's sponsor, Grace Cecilia. So, you, together, are the brave pilots of Terminal Company, the DFS's frontline squad in the struggle for Hestiol. How about we begin this in media res, and you can introduce us to your pilots as we go. So we'll open in an office, or it's an office now, but it doesn't exactly look like your average military briefing room, mostly because there's a really large, insufferable mural on the back wall. It's of two men, shaking hands and looking extremely severe and comradely with each other, one in just sort of ragtag garb, the other in a fancy military uniform, because your forward operating base is essentially a disused resort hotel from CalazCon itself, which you have forcibly expropriated. Sat in front of that mural at a desk is your direct superior, Renaissance Rene Standing Stone. He was really pleased to pick out this office, thought the mural was really inspiring, has shown no interest in learning the context because the context probably just makes it worse. One of these people probably stabbed the other 12 episodes later or something. But he's ushered you in, he's encouraged you to have a seat, he's offered you coffee, he's apologized for the quality of the coffee because that's exactly what he does every time. And he's now sat, perched on his chair, his hands cradled, ready to deliver to you your next mission. Right. Well, jolly good, jolly good. It's really, really wonderful to have you all here again. See you all hard at work as ever. Now, I trust that you've all had a good night's rest. You're all raring to go. I'm sure of it. Renaissance reaches to hand you a dossier Can I get a sense of what the atmosphere is? Like, is everyone sat around the table looking eager and alert? Who, if anyone, is bothering to pay attention? And who's sort of taking the lead here by default? Like, as Renaissance reaches to pass you your briefing, who's he aiming for?
Well, I think in terms of my character, Michael Burnout Carmichael, he's less eager and is just sitting there with a hot cup of coffee in his hand and staring daggers directly at one of the other people sitting at this table. The other recent joinee to the squad, Julius.
That would be me, Julius Thermidor, who is probably standing up very straight, very tired looking, on his third cup of coffee today, certainly the worst one, and is just trying not to look at Mike right now. Probably also not accepting the battle plans or the briefing. I think my gut says probably True, if True is okay with that.
I think True will give it a beat, and then True is a mixed race, kind of Chinese European looking woman. She uses she and they pronouns. She's in kind of comfortable X-Band t-shirt. She has large cat-like features. She has big cat ears and a fluffy tail, think Maine Coon. And I think she will stand for a moment. She's standing back straight, despite her kind of look. It's a retired soldier's gait. She didn't know that she still had this posture in her, but she certainly does. She will look between Michael and Julius. When it is clear that neither of them are going to take it, she will reach over and very pointedly take it, and then kind of splay it out in front of the squad across the kind of other side of the desk.
And I'll say as well, Ipse is standing offset slightly to the back of the rest of the squad, but my attention is fully focused on Renee here. I am almost actively avoiding paying attention to the awkward air in the room between my fellow pilots. But if True goes for the documents, then I'll also sort of step forwards to examine them as well.
Do you want to give us a brief description of Ipse as well? I realise I forgot to do that for Mike, but I'll come to that for a second later.
That is fine. So I think I probably have a somewhat distinctive appearance among the squad. Ipse is a robotic character. I'm playing an artificial humanoid robot with a white painted exoskeleton and metal showing underneath, except for my left arm being green and gold, the colours of the DFS flag. And I'm, staring at Renee with this row of 3 lenses across my face, where human eyes would be, somewhat intensely, almost because there cannot be another mode for my face. It just has to be staring forwards at all times.
Do we think Birdie is here as well?
Probably not. I don't think that that's necessarily the sort of operating structure, because I think that Birdie, the leader of your squadron of toughs, your small infantry unit that you have command of, I think Birdie is considered more under your command. It's a case of you decide what part of the briefing to report to him more than anything. So no, I don't think so. He's probably running exercises with the rest of the board squadron.
Don't worry about what happened to Sword Squadron.
Yeah, they're fine. Well, no,
Yeah.
They're
but
not.
don't worry about
They're
what happened
not.
to them.
They're not fine, but don't worry.
Their widows and orphans are probably fine.
They're being very well taken care of.
But not in the way
They're
where
being
they're also
reasonably
dead.
well taken care of. Yeah.
So True has taken the battle plans, just kind of splayed them out. I'm thinking, I always think manila envelopes or folders. She spreads out, open information in front of the entire group. Tail flicks in slight annoyance, but her expression does not betray that.
Mike is a very, mean-looking, bigger dude, bit of a belly. His, flight suit is rolled down, exposing, a tank top underneath, kind of paler skin and a backwards baseball cap. When he notices that True is looking slightly annoyed, he starts to focus more on the things that are splayed out on the table. I'm imagining it's, a bunch of, papers and, I guess, maps and things like that, right?
Yes, although maybe less than you expected, and we'll get into that now, I think, because Renee is lurching forward on the edge of his seat, almost rubbing his hands a little. He seems to think that what he's offering you right now is something quite exciting, and he's awaiting eagerly True's response as you receive the briefing for Operation Horatio. Congratulations, soldiers. This time, you get to watch the fireworks for once. as you've surely heard, tomorrow night is a big event for CalazCon, the Exodon RV spectacle. Our eyes and ears on the ground reliably inform us that the Joves intend to take advantage and make a major push on Artists' Alley during the main event. If we can hold off the invasion and ensure everything goes smoothly, it'll be both a blow to the Evangelion forces and a win for our public image. Hestiol's civilians can't help but love a blood sport, even when it's the Exodons running the show. Intel indicates that the on-site catering is pretty good, as long as you avoid the pizza. Dinner and a show. What more could you ask for? This briefing is nominally anonymous. It's just sort of a plain, cream-coloured, typed document. But I think you know who it's from. This is from the notorious Black Ops and Wet Work squadron that has definitely not reformed and is definitely not running any illicit fast food companies.
We don't necessarily know all of that, do we?
Yes, yeah. But I think you can put some things together.
I get the impression that Renee has not put this together from his excitement at us getting handed this from them, potentially.
Potentially not. Your target is the Vermin, a Tier 1 weak squad, and your objective is to be the heroes who save CalazCon's Fire at Midnight main event. Your rules of engagement are, there are 3 of them, keep Fire at Midnight entertaining and canon-compliant. Prevent damage outside the cleared combat zone, and do not enter east of Artists' Alley onto Corona Avenue. There will be an ongoing sensitive operation that must not be disturbed.
So we are fighting the Evangelion Empire troops in the context of a fake Calazar battle.
Yes, well,
Okay.
You don't know their invasion plans. Maybe they're somehow making their invasion, consistent with the CalazCon show, the reenactment of these famous fights from the Calazar franchise. But maybe they're not. Maybe they're just going to roll in with their troops and ruin the whole thing. But the point of your briefing is that you are there to simultaneously repel them and do so in a way that gets people on your side. That means that even if they're not playing fair by CalazCon rules, you have to.
Okay. Step 1 would be to figure out how they are planning on doing it, I think. Should we jump to the information gathering stage, or do we want to role play out the rest of the scene?
I think that at the very least, Renee says, exciting, isn't it? What do you think? I mean, obviously, you're our brave troops, you're stepping out there, you're putting your lives on the line in a way that the women, children, the families back at home, I know they really appreciate, and I appreciate it too. We all do, but, well.
So let me get this straight. We've got to go and risk our lives so that there's a good show for the folks at home.
Well, no, we're not broadcasting this mission. Not yet, at least. No, this is a good show for the people here, even among the civilians who are dealing with the Exodon incursion. These things are quite popular, these shows, and if you can keep Artists' Alley from being overrun by the Evangelions yet again, and simultaneously make sure that this wonderful spectacle goes as planned, then the hope is people on the ground will be on our side. You know, we've got to win over hearts and minds to win the war.
So, if we don't integrate ourselves into the spectacle, it will irritate the fan types? You can, hear the air quotes, even though he doesn't do them.
Michael does the air quotes.
Thank you, Michael.
We all saw what kind of mess those fan types made when they landed here. True became noticeably stiff when Renee started talking about the folks at home for some reason. If we can keep the Joves back and minimize the amount of mess that we make here, then I see no harm in it. Do we know what canon compliant means in this context?
I haven't had a chance to look through the promotional materials myself yet, but I'm sure that you'll be able to get a good sense of it on the ground, get an idea of which part of the Calazar franchise it is, the whole which of the shows, the finales, the whatnot they're reenacting this time, and get a sense of how it's supposed to go. I mean, it's the main event.
We need to pick up a script from somewhere.
Well...
Right, okay.
I'm afraid I haven't followed Calazar in about 30 years.
Well, pick up a script, or... It's a reenactment. You find out which reenactment they're doing, and you watch the show. Or you know it already.
Are we going to have to repaint our mechs for this?
Guess that depends on what it is that we're going to be doing, right?
Julius suddenly uncomfortable with the idea of altering his mech.
Love to have lots of people getting very uncomfortable over specific turns of phrase in this conversation. It's good, isn't it?
Michael is also uncomfortable with the idea of repainting his mech, but...
Probably for different reasons.
If you want to take the stage, then yes, probably. But there's nothing saying you have to intervene in the combat and keep it canon compliant, as they've put it. That's only if the fighting gets to the main stage at all.
Understood. So, if we can establish a perimeter and keep the vermin away from the main event, that should suffice.
I think it would be wise to assume that it is a possibility and plan for that possibility. So I think that a script would be important, and it would also behoove us to pick up the Evangelion battle plans, if possible.
Well, that'd be just lovely.
One of those things is going to be easier to acquire than the other, but they do both seem useful.
Well, you know me, I'm a team player, and I'm never averse to cracking some Yove skulls, but a glance is shot again from Michael towards Julius, but this,
Straight ahead. Looking straight ahead.
True blows her hair out of her eyes.
It's now perhaps a good time to mention that tell us about Julius Thermidor, please, Zachariel.
Okay. Julius Thermidor was a highly decorated captain in the Evangelion military, actually. He's not anymore. Maybe we'll get into why at some point, but he has turned himself over to the tender mercies of the DFS justice system, who inexplicably have decided that he was being sincere when he said he wanted to fight on their side now, and have seen fit to give him the rank of second lieutenant. He's expressly forbidden from actually giving anyone any orders. It's a ceremonial title, and given his mech back. This makes him very popular.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that you can occasionally spot when you say something, or when Mike Casper's glances to you. You can see Renee making a face like, that's going to have to go in for a report back to command. Like, still keeping a little bit of an eye on you.
Oh, while I'm here, I might as well describe what my man looks like. So, Google the wrestler Tomohiro Ishii and add 20 years and make him just incredibly tired looking and give him a nice mustache. And that's Julius Thermidor. He's probably wearing fatigues. I don't know if anyone's ever seen him not wearing fatigues. Like, sometimes the jacket is unbuttoned, but that's it. He walks like a career soldier. The last, nearly 20 years of his life, he is probably in his 60s. And in good shape for being in his 60s, but definitely noticeably there.
Right, yeah, and as Renee sort of says, well, I'm sure you'll do wonderfully. Please do let me know if you have any questions, if there's anything at all I can do for you. My door is always open. Renee, incidentally, you said sort of, for us, an idea of appearance and general demeanour, looked like the actor Michael Sheen playing Tony Blair.
A slick Politico type, a little bit out of his depth almost.
Yes, in fact, Renee has always been something of a political climber and is still recovering from losing the election to be your squad's representative in the legislature. I believe to Fishy, I think is his call sign. Yeah.
Yep.
So, who I'm sure we'll be checking in with later. Renee's doing his very best to fail forward from that with mixed results. And it's in that spirit that as you're sort of getting ready to file out, Renee says, Julius, Second Lieutenant Thermidor. Don't forget, it's your pick for pizza and movie night.
Then he salutes.
So intense. Such an important decision.
Renee's mouthing is like forming the words to say you don't need to do that, but stops himself because I imagine this has come up a lot.
He's gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Same with like offering you a seat. You said you were standing. I imagine that conversation's been had quite a few times now. But yeah, with that, that's your briefing. How do you want to begin preparing for the task ahead of you?
Well, I do agree that the most useful piece of information in my mind would be knowing something more about what the vermin's attack plan is. Even if we just know what direction they're coming from towards the Calaz Clash and Artist's Alley area, it seems like a good start.
Do we each get like a gathering information question, or like a gathering information role, I should say? And is that how we're doing this, or is it going to be more of a group?
I think rules as written is just like you can do as many as you want in Beam Saber, right?
Yeah, I say so.
I think, is it you get one each and then clocks start ticking, or am I misremembering?
I don't think it explicitly says that, but that tends to be how people read it. Or how
We're making audio drama. We shouldn't, make the people wait.
Exactly.
The clock is ticking, but it's the clock with our audience.
Yes. Should we describe for the benefit of the audience what a gather information role is?
You're going to be telling me what your pilots are doing to try to prepare for this information and, well, gather information and making a role associated with that determines what sort of details you get.
Yeah, it's building our, we have a limited amount of information in our briefing. We want to try and build on that with information from the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or set ourselves up in the best possible place for the coming mission.
I feel like I could do something to get my hands on a script, if that's like,
I mean, yeah, you can do that. I mean, to be clear, I think you could set your bar a little higher and like when I said, this is a reenactment. You can look at the promo material and be like, oh, they're doing the bit from that episode and watch the episode.
Oh, no, I was going to go down and ask creative for their script for the evening.
Right, okay, you want the real by below stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I know they're doing a reenactment, but I want to know the specific ways in which they are putting this on, what it looks like, when they're shooting off the pyrotechnics, right?
Which mechs are involved, what spots, is that the wrestling term,
Yeah,
Spots,
no,
yeah.
exactly. I want to go backstage at the wrestling pay-per-view and get whatever creative is working from, right? I want to know when Kenny Omega's running it.
Alright, yeah, sure. How do you plan to go about doing that?
So I'm going to roll consort, and by that I think I'm actually just going to go down, and I don't know if he quite looks relaxed, but he looks a little less stiff. I don't know if anyone's coming with him, but Julius is just going to go down to it's in Artist's Alley, right? And just start asking questions until he finds someone affiliated with creative, and just very straightforwardly say what is happening and what he would like.
I kind of like the idea if we get the camera seeing Julius walking down the street, and then as it does a pan or a different cut, you can see a couple of the members of the infantry squadron following him unsuspiciously behind, just keeping an eye on.
Yes. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. But yeah, no, I think that we are going to be doing this with disarming candor.
So when you say disarming candor, do you mean literally being... I have reason to believe that you're going to get invaded during this event.
Yeah, and as a member of the DFS military, we have a vested interest in the current ceasefire, at least with parts of CalazCon, and we would like to use our military influence to prevent the Jovangelian offensive from spoiling your spectacle.
Right, okay.
Who am I talking to?
Let's have a roll, and then I'll tell you. I'll give you some details of how this goes down, and we can talk about how this plays out.
Okay, so I'm going to assume this is a consort.
That's what it sounds like to me, yeah.
All right, can people help on gather information rolls, and does anyone want to help?
I think we can, but it costs stress. I think it's unlikely that Michael will be helping.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't see myself here assisting you with chatting to creative.
Okay, I'm happy to roll. My consort is my good stat, so I'm happy to roll that. When you consort, you mingle with allies and acquaintances. You might gain access to resources, information, people, or places. You may make a good impression and make a new contact with your social grace. You could try to persuade someone with social pressure, but sway might be better. And I have a 2 in consort, so I'm rolling 2d6. Ooh, okay. That's a 2 and a 1.
Well, at least it's a fortune roll, which means there's no consequences as a result of it. But auspicious start,
Not great.
folks.
Yeah, not great.
Start
Yeah.
as you mean to go on.
Alright, here's what this looks like. You make your way down into Artist's Alley, where you understand a sort of temporary rehearsal slash staging area has already been set up for this event. And you soon find that what's being referred to as the dressing hangar is based out of a disused combined baseball court and roller rink.
Just to be clear, 2 and a 1 is a failure, right?
Yes. We're looking for, we take that, it's a dice pool based roll, and we take the highest one. 1 to 3 is a failure, a 4 to 5 is a partial success with a consequence, and a 6 is a full success. If we happen to roll multiple 6s, that's a crit. Hooray, and good for us.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Does Julius make any attempt to, look different for this? Do you look? Are you trying to play the part of average Calazar fan?
I think he doesn't, and that's why this doesn't work. Maybe he has his sleeves rolled up and his jacket unbuttoned, but he's still very obviously a DFS soldier.
Yeah, I think you get to the lobby of the dressing hangar, and some intern on the front desk just hears what you have to say and says, that's kind of a little bit out of my pay grade, sir. You're saying this isn't a thing you're doing, right? This isn't a bit.
No, I'm afraid not. It's a matter of convention security.
Right. Yes. Yes, sir. We'll be looking into that forthwith, and you can expect an after-action report on your desk within 48 hours, sir.
Is this convincing enough that I go oh yeah, okay, no, this person is clearly gonna give me what I want?
They haven't given you a script or anything. Despite what you asked for, they've immediately fallen into this very established rhythm. So yeah, maybe you do think that by after action report they're going to send you their script or their dossier or whatever. I don't know. Essentially what's happening here is this poor intern was so overfaced by the sheer audacity of what you're attempting with, they've decided that you are a very committed LARPer. They spent a while being very confused and then thought, oh, maybe this is a bit character from the gritty spin-off series.
Right, yeah, no. The one from 30 years ago that nobody really likes anymore.
We, the audience, can see them talking themselves around. Yeah, I totally remember the actor that this, person is trying to be, you know?
Oh, yeah, this is from Calazar Nights.
Yeah, yes, exactly. No, it was the spinoff Calazar Nights X, which was extremely grim. Then I think Julius gives them a secure contact, right? He's not stupid. He's not going to just say oh yeah, come to our base that we have over there, right? Gives them secure contact, salutes, and probably I think he thinks he's going along with it. He's just sort of oh yes, this is how these fandom people work. And it just goes home and sort of explains to everyone, yes, no, I'll be receiving a communique from a trusted agent within 48 hours.
Nothing arrives, but you do, I think at the very least you can pick up some promotional materials while you're in the area, because you do get limited information. So here's what I'll tell you learn just sort of ambiently. The specific fight that is being reenacted as part of the Fight at Midnight main event is what's known as the Fires of Honor finale. It's an iconic fight from that Calazar series. The basic pitch of it is that it's a very clear hero-villain thing. It's the fight in which the hero, Bradley Seville, overcomes the dastardly villain, Sank Fives. And it's known as this big, beautiful, iconic moment because essentially Sank Fives is overcome by hubris. Sank Fives presumes that the poisonous, corrosive mecha nanites that his RV is capable of spitting at his foes will once again win against this naive fool. However, Bradley Seville, noble and naive as he is, he protects himself from poison mist nanites of Sank Fives by taking off the favour, the ribbon that his true love gave him as a favour, and tying it around his cockpit and fighting blind.
Okay.
So it's this big symbolic thing of the hero trusted in the power of love and friendship to save him, and it worked.
Hell yeah, alright.
You also get a list of the cast, and the main thing that you get from that is that the actor playing Sank Fives, who is known as Vermilion Steel, is known for being a notorious method actor.
Alright.
I think you just overhear some people talking about this in the lobby and just saying, oh my god, last time Vermilion... They started asking people to dress them as my liege the week before the event.
Well, I heard he sent a box of a rat in it to his co-stars one time.
Oh no.
A box full of nanites, maybe?
A box full of nanites to his co-workers, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm afraid that's all you've got. Incidentally, when you report the results of this to everyone, does the rest of the squad think, immediately just, see, oh, Julius got taken in, this isn't going anywhere, and just, humour him?
No, I think it's still useful. It's information we didn't have before. It's useful to know which actors are on site and which plot beats they're trying to hit, even if we don't know what the spots are.
He probably realizes pretty quickly that, that's not what he wanted, right? In the moment, he's just oh yeah, no, I figured this out. But, afterwards, it's not he's not going to labor under the impression that he's, really hit on something incredible here.
I think True is going to take a beat to just kind of, pat him on the back of the shoulder, be like, this is good content, thank you.
Appreciative grunt.
Does anyone else have any incredible plans?
I do. I think it is a shot of True climbing down out of a ladder out of a mech hatch. She has 2 coffees balanced in one arm, and if a clipboard was a tablet, it's that kind of vibe. It's a clipboard, but it also slightly projects the order number. And she is talking to someone who is clearly some kind of artist. They've got, an apron on and paint splatters, maybe a couple of interesting looking pliers and tongs. I'm thinking just human-sized versions of, those gunpla tools you can get? The little snippers and things like that, the things to rub off plastic corners. What True is trying to do is she is trying to secure a parking spot on site so that she can already have her mech parked up somewhere when the action hits. So I think from that, basically what she's trying to do is to get use of a delivery spot, because her mech is a civilian mech. Her mech, the truck, that's a civilian model, it's called an Epaulet Massif, or the truck. It's a main gauche customized for civilian use. Already, it continues to have a long train of cargo containers behind it, so it is essentially a big space truck that can defend itself on long trips through the blank. But either way, she's just talking to this artist. She offers them one of these coffees that she happened to have in her cockpit. There is some tinny, rock music playing in the background from the cockpit, which I think is, in my mind, is the opening to Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne.
Would it be possible to get that for, everyone? To make that up, to roll that in as part of this role?
Interesting. Hadn't thought about it, not adverse to it. What do you think, Elspeth?
Yeah, I think that's definitely an option. Did you say you were talking to an artist or a delivery person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I live in the north of England, there's a lot of ex-mills and things like that. Ex-industrial spaces, these huge, cavernous old brick buildings and whatnot. I think she is talking to the manager of a building, or, the self-nominated manager of, an artist commune or something like that. And she is basically saying, listen, we've got all these parts, we're going to unload them, but we don't want to do so just before all the action starts here. That's going to be a huge mess. when you've got all the fans flooding in after the midnight carnivale, you probably don't want to have, a heavy goods load halfway unloaded. But can me and my friends with our totally civilian mechs, because she doesn't wear DFS military branding. She very pointedly does not. Maybe she wears an armband around the base, and even then. So, she's very clearly trying to get on this building manager's good side and find some way to smuggle the mechs on site before the beat drops, as it were.
Yeah, I think you could definitely get everyone's mechs on site like that, especially if you're sort of referring to them as parts. You're maybe doing a little bit to make them look decommissioned. Mm-hmm. And with everything going on, you could even say, like, oh, yeah, sure, these used to be combat mechs, but we're about to refurbish them.
Oh, no, this one, that's not a sniper rifle. That's decommissioned for competition use. And she, test fires one of the guns, and it has a blank already loaded in it.
Or you could put, like, a peace bond at the end of it, or something like that, like it's a cosplay weapon.
I like that. The big neon, like, yellow-orange ones.
Okay, so what action did you have in mind for this?
I'm thinking this is Consort. I think this is her trying to be like, listen, I know you're fairly overworked and whatnot right now. I don't want to put more on your plate. I don't want to be unloading stuff during this whole thing. Look, me and my compatriots, we've got lodgings off-site anyway, so, we'll enjoy the festivities overnight. We'll be back in first thing, 5:30 a.m. tomorrow, unload. It's not like anyone's going to be doing a full workday today anyway,
All right, yeah.
So therein lies the plan.
Great.
So I'm trying a cheeky consort with the land. Which is 2 dice. 4 and a 2, baby. It's all about the high rolls today. High roll game.
4 is a success,
Yeah, I know. Standard degree of success, I guess. It's not great, but it could be worse.
Yeah, you've got basically what you're asking for. You've got the mix in there, set up, ready to go. Yeah, that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Excellent. In my mind, maybe it's like a yard or maybe like a warehouse. I like the idea of a yard because it's kind of then open-topped as, maybe she's pulling a gate in front of the mechs. In my mind, the squad of toughs are already in one of the cargo containers of the mech, and they're splitting a carton of cigarettes or something like that. Some folks have a couple of Game Boys unpacked or something like that. Keeping quiet.
Someone in Artis Alley is like, oh, I think this mech's on fire as like the cigarette smoke is coming out of like a little
Don't worry
There's a hazardous
about it.
goods sticker on it or something, do not interact this way up. As that happens, a small sort of industrial walkie-talkie on True's chest lights up for a second. The screen glows a soft, bright red. And there's a AI-generated voice which says, are you gonna be gone long? No, don't worry about it. Look, I'll be here if you need me, alright? Just give me a yell. And she kind of taps the walkie-talkie twice, kind of fondly, gives a nod to the mech, and then steps out.
Would this be Longreach?
This would be Longreach.
Do you want to tell us about Longreach now?
Sure, why not? True is a wielder. She is a pilot of a mech, but that's not really what she's about. The mech is interchangeable. The truck could go down in a heartbeat. It is a truck, hence why it does not have a name. The Longreach is a sentient sniper rifle. True had a long and troublesome career, and as part of that, she was chosen to test a new line of weaponry, essentially, which included some weapons with at least sapient AI. True sort of noted this. A operation went extremely sideways, which resulted in most of the test unit being decimated, and True took the opportunity to change her name to True Blue and flee the battlefield even. Longreach is a sniper rifle, but is also something and someone that True invests a great deal of time and effort into protecting.
This is like a mech scale sniper rifle, right?
Yes, it is affixed to the back of the truck, usually.
It's interesting because unlike a lot of the other, or I think all of the other mechs, the truck doesn't actually have any quirks. It's Longreach that has the quirks, right?
Mm.
Exactly. And the truck is a truck.
Yeah.
And Longreach has its own drive clock as well, which is also interesting.
Longreach has opinions.
Yes.
I think Longreach uses they/them pronouns for the record.
All right. Yeah, so you've got a means of ingress to Artis Alley with your RVs intact.
Yeah. I think the intention is, if we can enter on foot, we're going to be a lot less prominent than, a squadron of mechs flying up. I think it, allows easier deployment, is my thinking.
Definitely. Anything else you'd like to do to gear up for this?
We should figure out what the Jovangelians are doing.
I might have something if you don't, Ipsy.
I have ideas, but I don't have one specifically to understand what the vermin are doing. If you have something on that front, then you're very welcome to go for it.
That was what I was gonna go for, because I think the camera cuts and we see because I imagine this is the day before this is going down, right?
Yes.
So Michael is even though he's a mech, he's piloting a mech now. The Vector Mantis. He's the tuner playbook, and he's been working on this like passion project mech for probably over a year at this point. He was I don't know if it was specifically the very first landing, but he's been on Logal for like a while, if not the very first invasion for Operation Cornwall, very near the start. And he's mostly been as part of the engineering corps. He's like an ex-mech racer back from his home city of Bastock and or Space Detroit type city. And in terms of what he's been doing mostly in the military is basically doing engineering, fixing mechs, stuff like that. And so he does have some engineering skill. So I think what we see as he's walking through the city is he's figuring out, if this is the day before, we're not going to be the only people doing recon at this point. The other guys probably are as well. And so what Mike's going to try and do, I'm assuming around Artistally and like CalazCon in general, there's going to be Wi-Fi routers and transmitters and stuff like that for communications, right?
100%, yes.
So what he's going to try and do is, and he's going to declare a little bit of load to do this as well. He's going to declare his, I know we haven't declared our maximum loads yet, but we can take that into account when that happens. A Palm computer with useful programs, possibly linked into the kind of fine engineering tools, like a glove he has on his hand as like a thing extends and like connects into like one of these like Wi-Fi hubs. And he's going to attempt to hack it and basically kind of sit here for most of the day and see if he can try and hack into any relevant communications that are happening. Basically, in case any of the vermin are trying to route any comms through this node nearby to the stage where this is going down. That seems like an interface to me.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I'm just trying to think, is there a collateral dice you can offer to me? I've got one dice in interface. Is there a collateral dice you can offer me?
That is a very good question.
I will help. If Mike would accept the help, I think that would be very funny. And I feel like it would lead into a scene.
So here's the thing. I will accept the help. Matt will accept the help. Mike will potentially not accept the help or not realize that he's accepting the help. How would you intend to help?
If you're trying to decode Jovangelian broadcasts, I bet the guy who spent 16 years in the Jovangelian military is like pretty good at that.
Yeah, that would make sense. And I think Mike'll be, like, struggling with this. Or, like, not obviously. Mike's wearing this hoodie, he's up, he's trying to look not suspicious. As you're walking back with this, like, sheath of like, information that you've got as well, and you can, like, notice me and then come and talk to me. It's like, you've blown my cover, what's this about?
Well, I thought that I could lend some of my expertise into decoding some of these transmissions. I have a certain amount of relevant experience.
Michael's eyes, like, go from you to this readout on like the screen. I imagine it's like on one of his arms is like an almost Pip-Boy-esque like power glove thing, which he's using to try and interface with this. And like it's like showing like the red like not access thing. He's like, okay, through gritted teeth. So yeah, I'll accept that help. Let's see what we can find.
So I take a single point of stress to help there, right?
Yes, because we'll start off with our relationship set to 1 with each other. So, yeah, that would be 1 stress for 1 boost, and I will take an additional dice.
Could I say what my relationship with Mike is?
Yes, tell us about your connection clock with Mike.
I have one belief about Mike. Michael has no understanding of how the war will crush him.
For the record, my belief about Julius is turncoats can't be trusted. I'm watching you.
Wonderful.
Great.
And on that note, let's see how this teamwork goes.
All right, so so it's a total of 2 dice for this thing.
Yep.
Hey!
A 5 and a 6.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That was the second one as well, yeah. So we like get the fuzz as like this like CB thing is going, and like.
Mm-hmm. So you spend a good hour or two monitoring these comms. I'm imagining you're just sort of awkwardly, are you in like a booth in an internet cafe between like a bunch of con attendees, like checking their email or something?
Yeah, like just reaching under like a very long cable, reaching to like the server underneath. Well, we near to a server or something like that, but yeah. Takeout food and like street food containers piling up around us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do see, like, Julius in plain clothes for once, because he's not, quite stuffy enough to wear his uniform on a covert mission, which is just like a white tank top and a pair of jeans.
Yeah. And you don't get anything, like, Julius, you don't see any of the, like, sort of Evangelion signal codes or call signs, anything like that. And it looks like this is going to be a wash until you suddenly get a very high uptick in usage data, specifically from one particular place.
Oh, hold on, I think we got something here.
Essentially, what it looks like is suddenly 30 to 50 users are logging on at the access point of a hot dog restaurant round the corner from you. Maybe that's nothing, like, maybe they had like a special offer on, maybe there's some kind of event, but you do a quick scan, check the internet, check the AR feeds. There doesn't seem to be anything. So maybe that's when you decide to see some of the comms that you can get in going and outgoing from this place, this hot dog restaurant. And you get the chatter of people relaxing, of people settling into a home they haven't been for quite some time. You get outgoing messages like, yeah, the sauce isn't as good. Meg says that the lime pissed off the accidents. They said it was too sour. You get, like, maybe when this whole show has died down, you should come here and meet up or something. And then, in between that, you get one message that stands out. It says something like, yeah, we went over to the rink. Package is secure. So you've learned two big things here. The first thing is, the vermin is largely comprised of citizens of this city. Their way in and their way of operating is going to be, they know this place better than you, and they have friends and family here. And that's going to be a strength, and it might also be, from the attachment that you see, it might also be their weakness.
Because they were a gang that got busted in the midst of the DFS original invasion, right?
Yeah, they were in detention, and then during the initial invasion they got broken out and employed as a sort of reluctant guerrilla force. And the other thing you get from that one message that stood out, that message that confirmed, wait, no, there is something going on here, this does seem like military talk, is they have been to the rink, that is, the abandoned roller rink, the dressing hangar, and they have taken something.
Alrighty, well, I think we've got it. We pack up and get going, and yeah, that information is certainly passed on to the rest of the group.
Yeah, I want to frame a quick scene before we go.
Sure.
Michael.
Julius.
I'm aware you don't like me very much. There's a lot on my plate right now, so I'm probably not going to do anything in order to change that. Do I have to worry about you?
I have to be honest with you, Julius. I've been fighting against your compatriots, and let's be honest, potentially I've lost compatriots of my own to you over these past few years.
It's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. You know, this is useful. I know the brass sees there's use in you, but I don't forget things like that. Do you have to worry about me? Yeah, maybe you do a little bit. Take more than some light espionage to get over that.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I'd rather not have to watch my back around you, but deep, just like full body, weary sigh, if that's what's required.
That's it?
Can I add one thing to that?
Please.
As you sort of sigh in resignation at the close of this conversation, you hear a loud noise behind you. You see a group of people leaving one of the shops on the same street as you, just sort of laughing, elbowing each other, pointing at some of the weird shit the accidents are doing and grinning at each other. And you realise with a start that from the number and where they were, these are, you believe, some of the plainclothes operatives of the Vermin, your former Evangelion comrades, laughing, having a good time, being friends.
And Michael goes to leave and does like the shoulder barge, the shoulder shove to you as he's moving past you to get out the door.
No, just no response, just like is pushed back.
And Michael shakes his head at this, and it's the fact that you're not rising to it is pissing him off even more. All right.
Ipse, you said you had some plans?
Yes, I do. Firstly, just a clarification about something in the rules of engagement here. When it says prevent damage outside the cleared combat zone, could you sort of detail what the cleared combat zone there refers to?
We're talking like a large mech-scale duel is going to happen in a busy city. So a section has been cleared for that fight to go down. Your rule of engagement is to avoid excessive damage outside that cleared arena, basically.
Sure. So we shouldn't be demolishing buildings outside of that area, kind of.
Potentially not, no.
Alright, sure. And that is like also the stage for the Calaz Clash zone, effectively.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. That's what I thought you meant, but yeah.
They've closed a section of the street for like a race or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. The other thing we just learned, right, is that the vermin have taken something?
They have, yeah.
Where was that from?
The rink.
Yeah, that was from the rink, which was the staging area and like backstage for the dual shenanigans.
Sure.
Yeah, the dressing hangar, as it's been called.
I think what I want to do is go and see if I can take a look around the combat zone. I guess what I'm kind of looking for is possible angles of attack from the vermin. If they wanted to suddenly show up here, where would they bring a vehicle, things like that, into the zone? Or if there's anything obviously out of place there, then it would be good to know about that as well, in case they've already started sabotaging things. So, yeah, that's kind of my plan, is just to literally go and take a pace around the combat zone, as much of it as I can. And assuming it's good with you, I think that would be a survey roll.
Yeah, I was going to suggest the same thing. Yeah, go for it.
I've got 2 in that. That's a 3 and a 3, so 2 near misses, but yeah.
In the chat I've put, we're all trying the stuff we're good at. And Michael.
I'm good at interface. That's one of the things I can do. Hey, it worked.
True. Unlike our other attempts. Well.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought you were talking to me for a second there.
You have a look around the combat zone, the arena. With limited information, what you get is, it is odd how few clear points of egress for a large force there are here. You are not sure how this could figure into an angle of attack.
That's fair. Like, I'm kind of picturing that there'll probably be some obvious entrance points for the mechs that are going to fight in Calaz Clash, but, those are kind of the points where I'd expect, things to be controlled and guarded by the people organising the event. So.
Yeah, exactly. One of the main entrances onto the arena is, dressing hangar, the combined, softball pitch and roller rink, and the other big landmark that borders it is the main hall of this convention, so to speak, is the abandoned salad foods factory. That is just next to the arena, and you can tell that there's going to be premier seating for the event for Fire at Midnight on its roof. Okay,
well, I guess I'm satisfied that I don't see anything obvious amiss here, but that doesn't exactly inform us further.
Your recon also gets cut short because a crowd of stage assistants enter, and one just says, "Well, what are you doing here? The director's going to be here for an important blocking rehearsal any minute now. No tourists, please. You'll have more of a chance to get a look at the main event. We wouldn't want you to spoil the surprise, would we?"
Yeah, I turn to them and just say, "My apologies," and promptly turn and walk away. No need to engage those people.
Is Ipse in disguise as well, or...?
No. I don't wear clothes, so the idea of a disguise is sort of strange to me.
You have a cute little messenger bag, though. That's
yeah,
sort of
I wear bags and satchels and things, but...
Is it a different bag or satchel?
No, if I really, really needed to go undercover, I would do something to hide the DFS flag mural that I've had painted onto my left arm. But right now, I don't feel the need.
I guess everyone's like, wow, cool cosplay, but that's a non-canon flag.
Unless you have any other things you plan to do, it sounds like it might be time to choose a plan, a detail, and an engagement role.
Open to pitches. Anyone got any strong feelings on plans?
I have an immediate response for what Michael's plan is based on this information, but it's kind of sketchy.
I would love to hear.
Michael,
We love
let's go.
sketchy.
Michael, so we know that there's a package in the rink, and the other piece of information probably would have some supplementary information on that the vermin have might been contacting their friends and stuff like that. So we would potentially have some of like the email addresses or handles or something of the people those were getting sent out to, right?
Yeah.
We could take some of their friends hostage.
Oh, that's very sketchy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do not think Julius is down for that.
Is this a conversation we want to play on?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this is, we're back in the base, right? The end of the line, or as it is otherwise known, the Baron Bastartus's Black Star Voyage monorail experience, which was supposed to be colony dropped to the 501st, but due to some intervention by...
We bribed a man and stole it.
We bribed Jacobs Junkers Limited to help it get dropped on our side of the DFS siege line instead, and so now this, like, monorail hotel with the monorail poking out either side of it, not connected to anything, which we kind of... And a bunch of the other DFS troops around the siege line will be sitting. So, we're going to be back in there. And we could cut in with just... Michael just savvy said, well, we could take their friends hostage.
I think we're probably all, like, sitting around like a table discussing this. Is that
Yeah, so like,
correct?
the vibe here is Resort Hotel that was going to be like the central terminus of the convention's monorail. So I'm imagining this conversation taking place in an obnoxiously themed restaurant or something.
I was going to say, I love the idea of a mostly empty restaurant that
yes.
we've turned into a briefing. It was lots of empty space around us.
Still got the Pizza Hut carpet going on.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
There's a Baron Bastartus like animatronic in the corner. You can press a button and it starts doing a fun dance.
And it's in this room that we have an interesting suggestion from Mike.
Mikey, I don't think it sits right with anyone to be taking hostages. Not as the first beat, come on.
Hey, look, they're going to come in. We don't know what they're going to be doing. They could very well start... We don't have to do anything to them.
Categorically, we do. That is the purpose of taking hostages. If you can't follow through on your threat, you don't have a hostage.
Okay, sure, that's a fair point. But we are at war here, you know.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm open to other suggestions, is all I'm saying. I think it doesn't sit right with me. If I have to be involved in this, then I'd rather be looking out for people and not putting more in harm's way.
Mike seems chastised by True not agreeing with this more than perhaps Julius or any of the other people.
We have an ingress point, thanks to True. Do we have any sense of timing or tactics from our opponents?
Your information is, well, no offense intended, but it's a little limited. But I mean, we know perhaps when folks are expected to arrive, when folks are expected to, be sitting down, know when the broadcast starts. Probably take a guess and say half an hour, 45 minutes after that. Give some time for, commentators to get in, settle down, get some high-revenue adverts rolling, perhaps. We've got our time slot, if not our particular launch time.
We know they're probably going to be taking something from the rink as well. That at least gives us a potential route, right?
True.
To be clear, the broadcast you intercepted said, we have taken something from the rink.
Ah.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could insinuate ourselves as extras?
It's doable. We know where, at least, dressing has taken place. Could get some costumes easy enough. Show up at the dressing stage, carry some boxes.
I imagine they might require mech-scale security as well.
Doable. And we've got the hardware on site.
That sounds like our general plan here is to use the ingress point, which you ably provided, True, and be prepared and be reactive to whatever they try, right? Is that the plan?
Something must be missing from that site. I don't think they're just here taking valuables. My concern is they've swapped something important for something else. I guess off the top of my head, seeing as we don't know what, at least we can be there and close to handle it before things escalate.
Is this a stealth plan? The point of infiltration is being on duty as security or as extras.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
I think in general, the point of infiltration is the dressing hangar.
All right.
Sure. Yeah.
So, to be clear,
right.
are you planning to be, like, showing up in mechs as disguised as mech-scale security, like you suggested? Or are you planning to be just there as extras?
We could also just be in the dressing hangar, right? That's still pretty close.
As it gets close to the event, people are going to want a reason you're there.
I think mech scale security lets us just like get in, like start engaging as soon as possible, right? And it's not that implausible, right? Like I think we've been using wrestling as a touchstone. Like wrestling rings have like security that is just there to get beat up by the wrestlers.
Oh, the suspiciously buff security guards.
Yes, all the who are just like
I
other
do like
wrestlers
that
trying
you're
out.
discussing wrestler scale security.
Wrestler scale security. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's like totally plausible.
We could be suspiciously buff cameramen.
Yes, that also.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, and the other thing I suppose would be, what's your pilot load?
I'm going to go medium, I think.
I'm going to go heavy. I've never done heavy before. I think it'd be fun.
Heavy for the stealth plan. Always works.
I'm in my mech. It's fine.
The loads kind of is how you're perceived, right? If it's light, you can move around quickly. Medium, it looks like you're kitted out for something, and 6 is like you're kitted out for combat. I think Mike being like an engineer with a big toolbox seems to fit in with the vibe here.
For sure. Okay.
I'm taking medium.
Nice.
I think I'm going light. My intention was to be on site on foot and do what I could to stay sort of near to where the action happens.
Alright, so we might have a mixture of on foot and mounted in vehicle. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I think Julius is definitely in his vehicle.
Michael also vehicle.
Does anyone else want to be on foot? Ipsay, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it seems like their plan is infiltration, so I'm not sure how much I need to be in my mech, at least immediately. So I'll go on foot, and we have the mechs stored nearby, right?
The old double infiltration.
Oh, good. That means that we've got Mike and Julius paired up in their mechs.
Yeah.
Cool.
The
Have
best
fun.
friend squad.
Yeah.
The BFS.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go through the engagement roll questions. So, start with 1 dice. Is the mission bold? Take +1. Is the mission especially complex? Take a -1. I think we could call this bold. Alright, yeah, we're up to 2. Does the mission exploit the target's vulnerabilities? Or is it ineffective against the target? I think that's a neither. I think you're just fine. Are you receiving external support? No. Is anyone interfering with the mission?
This is always my favourite question as a
yeah.
GM, because shenanigans are happening.
Yeah, I mean,
Elspeth
not
is
as far
like,
as we're aware,
which
right?
shenanigans are happening?
Doing little
like,
calculations.
Yep.
Yes. Are there
Oh, great.
other factors affecting the mission? You would get +1 because you have a tier on the vermin. They are tier 1. However, and you have specifically chosen a plan that engages with this, you are grappling with the security of not the vermin, but CalazCon, and they are tier 3. So I would say that
Oops.
cancels out.
Whoopsie.
So we're at 1. It's better than 0.
It is better than 0. Historically, we've not had great luck rolling dice, but does anyone want to give it the honorary roll? Smash a bottle of champagne against the side of the ship?
Just before we do that, Sabriel, when you marked stress for assisting me, did you mark it on your sheet or on my sheet?
I might have marked it on yours.
I think you did mark it on my sheet.
I super did. Thank you. Thank you
That's
for pointing
okay.
that out. Yeah, feel
That
free to
seems
erase
narratively
that.
accurate.
Yeah. Mike didn't like that.
No one
happened.
had a good time.
No.
Okay.
Dragon Age notification. I didn't like that.
Michael strongly disapproves.
Who wants to roll the engagement roll? No pressure.
Not it.
I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
1 dice.
Oh no! Oh boy. Yeah, that's a 3. Let's go.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
I
So
believe
does
we
that
started.
means we're in a desperate position, right?
Yep.
Let's go.
That seems appropriate.
We're so good
Hello,
at this.
and welcome to CalazCon. Prepare to watch a squad wipe in Mission 1. Let's go, baby.
No, I'm in my mech. It's going to be fine. Maybe.
Also in my mech. Nothing bad has ever happened to me while I was in my mech.
Alright, so
Hmm.
let's switch page and very hard to get, like, good creative commons art of here is a big cyberpunk weird market convention thing, but here's my rough layout of what's going on here.
Nice.
So I would say that the squad, in general, is probably starting, like, behind the dressing hanger, if I'm going to grab one of your tokens to indicate this. Are you all presenting yourself as, like, we're extras or security?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, my intention was to be, and potentially this can be with Ipse as well, just on site, like either in or just outside the dressing hanger, like carrying boxes around or something. Apologizing to Ipse every time she has to do this, but maybe being like, no, carry the boxes over there.
I'm maybe gonna push against this a bit. I'm literally a security robot. I think I have a pretty good shot at pretending to be security here.
Valid.
So
The camera flips and True is carrying boxes.
Yeah.
I think for our purposes, the operative thing here is that you are all sort of like, if you're getting ready to like sort of be waved through by the people on the doors of the dressing hanger at CalazCon, you can see that the atmosphere is at a fever pitch. There are lights on the hangar and the Salad Foods main hall sort of strobing the air. You can see hydraulic lifts, or in some cases like actual flying vehicles are being used to convey spectators up into the crowds even. And the atmosphere here is hectic. So you're pretty sure you've got the basic credentials, you're going to get waved on through without a problem. Until you hear a voice behind you and the assembled crowd of all the other staff who've turned up for this event. Okay, everyone. Here is the situation. We are making and remaking history tonight. And for this, the biggest CalazCon that the world, the galaxy has yet seen. I have a vision, and what's important, what will make sure that this night goes down in history, is for you to open your hearts to me. For you to accept that vision as yours, as well as mine. And I look upon our cast today, and I see a lack of style, a complete absence of verve, a paucity of colour and spirit. I wonder, am I doomed? Are we all doomed? You, over there, you. Did you not read my fucking memo about showing up the taupe colouring? And what is this? What are these corners, these angles on this machine, this monstrosity? In short, can you, and you, and you, and you, this guy is pointing out all of your squad, can you report to me precisely what is your fucking damage? The security, extra staff are getting a consistency, staging check by the director. And you have been found severely wanting.
It's a tricky. We've fallen into one of those desperate social situations.
Oh, boy.
And I'm not sociable in real life, so how do I roleplay past this?
Do we come clean here?
No.
It's immediately abandoned plan A.
I was looking longingly at placed explosives, being like,
We do have access to flashbacks as well, don't forget.
We do have access to flashbangs.
I feel like I want to put in a real effort for coming clean here. This person is not our enemy, right? We're trying to fight the Jovangelians when they get here. This person doesn't want the Jovangelians to ruin their thing. Why don't we just take this person aside and be like, hey, we're really sorry. We are not with your cast. We are undercover. Maybe don't tell them who we are. Just say hey, we're security. We're here to make sure nothing goes down. You don't even need to put us in the scene. Don't worry about it. You know?
I don't have a better plan.
I'm not sure how I feel.
I'm not sure Mike likes that, but also does not really have any other suggestions.
My vibe is it's one of the other factions in the war right now, and
Yeah.
Well, we could imply that we were on the same side as them.
Okay.
Does anyone have sway?
Just to give you a sense
don't.
of the vibe, the director is of course a member of CalazCon squad, and the vibe here is weird because these are high-level, serious Calazar fans and attendees of the convention, They are also people who are designed generally to work in the background. Some of them are the actors and actresses, sure, but most of them are backstage, or creative staff. Most of them are also, even more than your average fandom participant, the theatre kids. So what you get is you get a lot of people who are in, like, bland military attire that you expect of, like, an extra on in one of these shows. Like, the way a stationed might wear black, their equivalent is just, like, wearing generic background person costumes. But then there's always one bit of, like, style on it that throws it off, that tells you, like, oh, these people are, like, fresh, they're cool, they're weird. Like, they'll have just, like, plain military fatigues, and then someone will have, like, a pastel-coloured knitted scarf, or a mohawk.
A piece of flair or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or a cigar. The overall result is disconcerting, and perhaps deliberately, but they all end up looking slightly like sort of like bohemian revolutionaries. And on this note, I have a portrait for the guy who has been lambasting you. He's here.
So this is a white baron with sunglasses and a red beret and like military fatigues. He reminds me a little bit of Revolver Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Little bit of Revolver Ocelot vibe. I want to hear what True's idea is that Philo has put in the chat.
So, I have an idea.
All right.
Set off the pyrotechnics early while I'm trying to come up with a clever excuse.
Aren't we supposed to not? We're supposed to ensure this is canon compliant?
Yup. That does sound like your idea is do something so we have time to think of a better idea.
Well, it's to get his attention.
I'll get out of my mech and command him. I got a fucking point in that. I'll just tell him, like, you don't need to worry about us. I can, like, flash. Do I have any sort of, like... Oh, if I could tick documents. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we just, like, explain, actually, no, this is fine. Don't worry about it. We're security.
We could just bully him, right? That's effectively what we're saying.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yes, exactly. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to help me bully? Because I have one in command.
I think Mike could help you bully.
God, yes! Alright, yeah.
Can we get a sense of what this looks like? Because first I want to get a bit of an image of this, because you're in your RV, you're in your mech right now. Like, is this like the cockpit, like, peers down, and you, like, open it and address this guy from there?
No, I'm getting out of my cockpit.
Okay.
Julius gets out of his cockpit. This is a man who can turn on the menace if he needs to, right? So this is just sort of like a slow, like, you fucked up kind of walk. And if he is, like, briefly surprised that, like, Mike is suddenly, like, walking next to him, he doesn't show it. He just keeps walking, and he gets real close to the director before he says anything. And then he flashes a document, which is like some sort of like official CalazCon letterhead that is like generic enough that he could be anyone. He could be the fucking like convention CIA, right? Like, we don't know, but it looks very convincing. And he says, we're security, not security. Security. You don't need to worry about us.
I think I'd like to play this out a little bit before we see how the roll goes and give, like, Mike an opportunity to chime in.
Yeah. Do we have any, like, pilot gear that might be able to help with this? Because I'm looking at
I tick documents.
You've ticked documents.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to tick something else to give me, like, some even more oomph, that's fine, but I've got something.
As part of my unique tuner gear, I have tickets to the show, which is tickets for the pilots to get to the common area of a race vehicle exhibition or trade show, which I don't think is necessary here.
No. Shall we play this out a bit while you...
Yeah. It's less that he's trying to help Julius and more that he's basically had the same idea and they've basically ended up going at the same time. Because Mike is also a big dude. Like, he's got, like, you know, Vin Diesel or Eddie Kingston-esque vibes as he's walking down. Are we armed? Yeah, we should probably be armed.
Julius looks armed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm heavy load, which I categorically look like a soldier on a mission.
Okay.
And basically, we're just there looking mean. It's just, this is two people who are both basically look mean, look threatening, and Mike is hot committed in that he's started coming down, has realised Julius is here, but doesn't want to go back to his mech, so is basically looking really angry because he realises now he has to help Julius.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Does the director say anything?
The director just looks at one of you, looks to the other, slowly takes off his sunglasses. Well then surely you know the name of the director, Sebastian Bangarang.
Yes, thank you.
What a great name.
You know that I led the production of The Field of Glistening Silver in 77. You know that I pioneered the expressionist staging of The Trial of the Three Armies in 79. And you know that we had security locked down at every single one of those. And on not one occasion, was it an excuse for the utterly slipshod display that I see before me. Oh, you're not security. You're security. Yeah. You don't think I've heard that before? You don't think I've heard that and told that security to run back off to their dressing rooms and come back in something a little bit more suitable? What makes this any different?
All right. Heavy hand on this man's shoulder. Sir, we're not required to know your name. We're not required to know your standards for security attire. We serve a higher authority. Quick flash of the documents again.
Those other sets were not in the middle of an active war zone, sir. I suggest you stand aside.
We have intelligence, you do not. We are authorized to take certain punitive actions, should we be impeded.
I think it's time for a roll. I think this is desperate limited.
Limited? I take documents.
True.
I might have something that could help sell this at a higher level. It might involve a flashback.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking?
Philo, I was inspired by your mention of placed explosives. I think we could have a flashback to something kind of outside, because we've got, looking at the map, we're in the dressing hangar, which is like a circular area to the bottom left. Like, just above this to the right, there's the arena, then there's a Salad Foods main hall to the right of that, then a gap, and then Corona Avenue, to which we should not go to the right of that. Somewhere, like, below us on this map, behind, we could have placed some placed explosives. Like, a small amount, and those could go off at this point.
Yeah, just to really drive the point home.
Okay.
How much stress would you like for that flashback, GM?
Oh, that is a good question. For now, let's call this a one-stress flashback.
Yeah, that seems about right to me. Because we know that we're going in as security, having something to sell the ruse, as it were. It doesn't seem unreasonable we might put something together. But at the same time, it is a little bit of a retroactive one. So yeah, I'll spend one stress and tick off a point of load for my placed explosives. So I'm currently on 2 out of 5 of my load. And yeah, like car alarms go off in the background to kind of help sell this one.
Okay.
I also would like to point out I really look the part on account of the 6 load.
True.
Yeah.
Sebastian looks up in alarm. And yeah, I'd like you to make that roll. So, desperate standard.
Excellent.
Hell yeah, okay. 2 dice, unless I want to push myself. And I already have 1 stress, so I don't know if I want to push myself yet. Fuck it, let's see what happens. Hey, that's a 6!
Excellent. We love to see it.
Oh, and it was on the assist as well.
Yeah.
It's the same roll, it's a 5-6.
We're such a good team, Mike.
Best friend squad.
The explosion rattles Sebastian as he shifts his beret a bit. He says, Alright, fine. I insist 2 minutes for my set designers, Caroline, Marshall, get over here, to do what they can with your whole situation. And then you get out there, do what you need to do, and if anything goes amiss, I will be having your heads.
Thanks for listening to CalazCon. This episode was edited and sound balanced by Christine Blight. You can reach her for voice acting at cvblight@gmail.com. The show's music is by Devin Nelson. You can find all of their work at devindecibel.com. If you'd like to support CalazCon, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/CalazCon. Please tell your friends about the show too. Remember, all glory to Calazar.